Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. So let's get straight into it today. Paul Ciancia goes on this murder spree, killing rampage, strikes fear into the hearts of minds of Los Angelenos at the LAX International Airport. Specifically targets a TSA agent as his target, cites extremely conveniently the New World Order and also fiat currency as the motive for the act of targeting what is the equivalent of the SS or the Gestapo here in the United States, the TSA itself. And this is a very familiar narrative. Of course, notice that the frequency of these events has only increased in recent months. Conveniently, ever since Obama has been making a big push to confiscate your guns, to totally destroy the Second Amendment in this country, and to demonize assault rifles, which in many people's opinion, not only should it not be called an assault rifle, it just should be called a self-defense weapon, because in order to defend yourself, we have every right, as many people believe is a God-given right, to form a well-regulated militia to defend ourselves from tyranny and to defend ourselves from a malicious government. Of course, maybe not all of us, but you would hope that the world learned their lesson. Anytime guns have been confiscated, there's been mass genocide, whether or not this was before the outbreak of World War II with the rise of Germany and the rise of Hitler, or it was Mao, or it was any other dictator, or even for that matter, it was Obama. Because he clearly wants the guns. I mean, not only is he socializing America, I would argue fascizing America and raising premiums and skyrocketing them into the atmosphere, into the stratosphere through Obamacare. He definitely wants your gun. He definitely wants your right to self-defense. But back to Ciancia, here you have this young 20-something, I guess, kid with nothing left to lose, outside of scribbling a handwritten note, deciding that it's the New World Order and fiat currency are the reasons that the government wants us to believe he went on a killing spree. Now, none of this, of course, smells right. It all smells like bullshit, like all these other false flag stage terror attacks that we've been living through and experienced over the past few months. Whether or not it was the Boston bombing, by the way, all of these in gun-free zones, the Boston bombing, the Sandy Hook massacre killing at a school, the Batman shooting, killing, massacre in a movie theater, all gun-free zones. Same thing with Los Angeles International Airport, a gun-free zone. And see, what this emphasizes is you're not safe, America. You see, Obama can grab all the guns, he can confiscate all of your weapons, and you're still not going to be safe. Because the killers and the criminals, even if they start patting you down before you get to the airport, will just meet you before you get to the airport. Or they'll meet you at the grocery store. Or they'll meet you at a movie theater. It'll turn into Mexico, where the only people that have guns are gang members or criminals. Or the federal government, which they're talking now about arming TSA agents, which I think is a pretty clear motive to perhaps maybe stage this event. What do you think? Is it a good idea to arm TSA agents, these dipshits? We've all seen them, and I'm sorry. I'm sure there's probably a few good ones out there. I don't mean to discount you particularly, but most of you seem like dipshits, quite frankly. And you're the ones that we're going to arm? Half of you without college education? I mean, if we're going to arm TSA agents, at least make sure these TSA agents are highly qualified. I mean, I want the James Bond equivalent that could shoot down an evil gunman with one eye closed from 100 yards and a hand tied behind his back. But that's not what you're going to get. What you're going to get is intensified fear-mongering around these events to create an atmosphere of capitulation, conveniently, so Obama could then confiscate all of your weapons. This is the Hegelian dialectic, of course. Create the problem and then conveniently provide that solution to the dumb shits which make up the American sheeple today and give it to them on a silver platter. I've even heard some liberals and Obamanoids tell me that we should take all the guns from Americans and from the people and store it in a safe house in a break glass situation so that if anything does happen, like we're invaded by China or North Korea, we have a break glass place that we can go get the guns. Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. When you need the guns, we all have to rally at a specific area to break glass to defend ourselves. So this is all too convenient, not to mention this story has changed multiple times. And we source everything here at AMTV, at Alternative Media Television. KFOR, an Oklahoma City news station, had reported right when the story broke that Mr. Ciancia, the gunman, was an off-duty TSA agent, and then later changed the title and changed the story. This was also sourced by the Drudge Report, the beloved Drudge Report, sourced that Ciancia was an off-duty TSA agent, and also that the suspect was killed. And then they changed that story again. Now, I have every single screenshot to prove it. It's circulating right now pretty heavily on the internet via our Facebook page and our Twitter feeds. I even put arrows to where they had sourced the story. So see how the story changes? See how they just create whatever narrative they want to take your guns? And of course, where's the video footage? Have any of you seen any of the video footage at LAX? You would think that they would have cameras at the airport, don't you think? I mean, I was even reading at the New York Marathon, the upcoming marathon, I can't remember the day it's actually occurring, that they're actually going to have video footage of every square mile of the event itself. And they're going to have scuba divers in the water to prevent another Boston bombing type staged terror attack. So this is all too convenient. Nobody's talking about the fact it always happens in a gun-free zone. It conveniently also always just lands right into the lap of the president and right into the lap of the Nazis. I mean, let's just face facts here. The Nazis that won our guns. Our founding fathers gave our guns and the Second Amendment not only to protect the First, but to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. So that we could defend ourselves from excessive taxation, we could defend ourselves from criminals, from people taking our property, what's rightfully ours. It's how we ran off and defended ourselves and declared revolution, 1776, and rallied among each other and to send the redcoats back home. And this is what is being choreographed, again, is to make this an archaic picture, to paint that picture in your mind, that this is no longer needed. I expect, actually personally, and my heart goes out to these people and these victims because it's tragic, but I expect an increased frequency of these events. Again, Obama needs capitulation. He needs it to get so bad, so bloody, and so ugly that you're begging to give up your guns. And then he'll take them from you, and just like dictators have before, maybe not him particularly, but somebody else or a malicious government will go on a mass killing spree. It'll be far worse than Sandy Hook. It'll be far worse than the Boston bombing. It'll be far worse than the Batman massacre. It'll be far worse than LAX. It'll be the equivalent of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people killed in mass genocide, which is a historical fact that you should all look up if you don't already know and are familiar with. I'm not buying the official bullshit story. I'm not buying the narrative. I'm not buying the fact that the story has flip-flopped and changed multiple times, that it was sourced incorrectly, or maybe correctly, multiple times on not just the Drudge Report and also KFOR and a host of other mainstream media sites. I call bullshit on this. I think it's way too convenient for the political left. At a time when Americans, quite frankly, have every right to be angry at Obamacare, angry at premiums doubling and tripling and quadrupling, angry at the fact that there's a Ponzi scheme that exists in Washington and the Federal Reserve. And that's one thing that this crackpot, nutcase, potential MK Ultra triggered killer that is Paul Ciancia, there was one thing that he was right about, and that is you should fear the New World Order. You should fear tyranny. You should fear the Ponzi scheme that is fiat currency, that is literally destroying our entire system before our eyes. Get this video out everywhere. Please continue to investigate. I'm Christopher Green, hard-hitting and in your face. Make it viral.